Good morning, guys. So excited to be giving you a peek behind the curtain with some incredible training I did recently with an audience around how to build $1 million personal brand. I'm going to be unpacking for you some key concepts that maybe you've thought about or not thought about that's important that you hit on all these different angles to ensure that you are building your $1 million brand. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. Hey friend, Melissa Hinault here with the Burnout to All Out podcast. I'm a former multiple six-figure executive corporate burnout, feeling stuck in the life I built for myself. But using my corporate skills, I took to the internet and have built multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses, showing others how they can build a life they love. Now, on this podcast, I share stories of being an entrepreneur, a mom to my 3 amazing kids, and wife to my wonderful and supportive husband who supports all my wild and crazy dreams. My journey is taking grit and persistence and belief. And believe me, I'm still a work in progress that you may witness in real time, whether it's in our free Burnout to All Out Facebook community, or inside my mastermind, or even in my coaching programs, or maybe just right here on the podcast. I'm laughing and I'm crying with you. I've become a serial entrepreneur with a passion to inspire more burnouts to take the leap of faith and go all out and live out their dreams. Consider me your mentor in your head and on the go. So let's get started. We're going to dive into personal branding. I want to ask, how do you define personal branding? Personal branding at its core is building yourself as an authority, okay? Personal branding at its core is building yourself as an authority that is recognizable and unique. Okay, here's the key term I want you guys to write down. While also providing value. Value. We're going to really hit on this with community building in our workshop today, but value is the critical piece, okay? In 2022, in the world of social media, people buy from you because of you. Guys, let me share this with you. Online business is absolutely booming, right? It is driving our economy right now. So what is going to differentiate you from the 12,000 other people launching and doing something similar to you, right? What it's going to be is that value add. You are creating the authority piece as the service-based entrepreneur that you are. Now the question is, how does one go about building yourself as an authority that's recognizable and unique? And this is what we're going to unpack while providing value. How are you building a personal brand? How are you building a personal brand? Okay. Now, I want you guys to write this down. Before we jump into 3 key components of personal brand building, I want us to talk about fatal mistakes that online entrepreneurs make. And the first one is, I see this a lot with new entrepreneurs. It's selling shit before you've created a community or value in the first place. Okay. How many of you, guilty as charged, I'm going to tell you my story in a minute because I told you humble beginnings, right? Like whipped up your stuff, was ready to sell it, and just started showing up online and promoting the hell out of it, hoping somebody was going to buy it. Without creating value, without building authority, without creating community. Has anybody been like, yeah, okay, Nikki's admitting to it. I see Alacia kind of like, yeah. Alacia, you guys are going to hear from Alacia in a minute. Yeah, I know in my first e-commerce business, every master was once a disaster. I plastered stuff all over the place trying to promote it. And with my initial LinkedIn business, and we're going to talk about that, right? Okay, but the key is, where are you today? And I would love to know, for those of you who are on the line today, how many of you came because of a random ad and you don't know me at all? Or how many of you came because you already have known of me somehow, way, place, or fashion, known of me would be that personal brand build. How many of you, if you're willing to put it in the chat, how many of you came from a random Facebook ad? I would love to see if any are here from an ad. Now, this is going to be a point I'm going to make in a minute. It's all brand building. Yes. Yes. See? And the other thing to note is a lot of you are coming in from my base program in the academy. This is great for actually Alacia to see because she's one of our mastermind members who is looking at building a concept like this, right? Is like, how do I build brand and authority with an initial program that then can escalate people into a higher level program, right? So I want you to think about, and it doesn't have to be a legit program that people are paying for. We're going to talk about that, right? But what you do need to be doing and thinking about is how you're building brand, right? How are you becoming aware within your network of what you're doing, okay? Now, Number two fatal mistake that a lot of online entrepreneurs make when they first get started with brand building is they have no visual brand recognition. That's number 2. So that goes along with the entrepreneurs who are just throwing things out there and trying to sell it, and they have no personal brand recognition. Nothing that's consistent and recognizable across the platforms in different avenues and venues that are coming out through email or through social media posts, right? The key is when people see your content, your course, your website, if you've got it, you want them to instantly know that it's you, okay? And the key with this, with personal branding, is that some of you are here. Some of you are simply here because someone else referred you, or maybe you saw something that we were promoting on social media. And the only reason you're here is because you heard from someone else about this, and the brand recognition prompted you to opt in. I want to give you a live example of this. I have a good friend who was in the mastermind with me, my previous mastermind, and she joined another mastermind and was raving about how excited she was about it, that she was getting started. Guess what happened? It came like to the forefront of my brain because she was a credible person. And the guy leading up that mastermind, all of a sudden, I saw his brand everywhere on social. And I was recognizing it because I'm like, oh, that's that guy that so-and-so talked about, right? His branding ultimately brought me in through the power of a network who mentioned him in the first place. But if his branding wasn't consistent to begin with, I wouldn't have been able to put it all together and opt in. Is this making sense to you guys? Right? People think brand isn't important. Your personal brand is everything. Everything, because you can also take it and pivot on a dime, right? Which is a whole nother conversation. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Why the branding is so important? Some of you may be thinking, oh, I'll use Facebook ads one day. I won't have to worry about branding, right? I'm here to tell you, who knows the conversion rates on Facebook ads? This is something we really are going to be unpacking in our mastermind. Conversion rates for sales are like 2.5%. Okay, we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. Conversion rates on organic lead generation is 8%. 8%. So you can spray all the money you want on Facebook ads, but if you're not working on your personal brand, our last launch of our academy, out of the $100,000 in sales we did, only 6 came from ads. And the rest came from organic connections because of the brand recognition. Is this resonating with you guys? Okay, good. All right. Now, so when I first started, let's talk about my brand. Jackie and Jess can laugh because when I first brought them on, I know they were like, oh my Lord, I built my own course. It was janky. Like, how many of you guys have built your own course? I built my own website. Nothing was consistent. My website didn't look like my social content, like nothing. My podcast, it was a hot mess, right? It was a hot mess. And how much money did I make in my first year? Not a lot, right? Was there brand recognition? Not a lot, right? And so the next year, I brought Jess in and hired a brand and marketing strategist. I hired an operations tech expert who built out the website. Those two worked in collaboration to make a synchronous, beautiful brand. And Jess in a little bit is going to show you our Canva board and how we build brands for us and for our clients, right? but so that the right hand is speaking to the left, so that whether it's a promotion about a podcast episode or an email funnel or an opt-in or my course or the freaking worksheets you guys got today, was there brand recognition on that? I see Kathleen being like, yeah, right? It's the little things, right? It's the little things. Okay. The key is to have a synchronous, consistent brand. And we're going to talk about what is a part of that here in a second. All right, let's get into how we create authority. Okay. So how do we create authority when it comes to social media? So when it comes to your brand, 3 things. Let's talk about the 3 things we're going to unpack in your worksheet are the 3 aspects to branding. I want you to write these down and we're going to unpack them, right? We're really going to get into authority. How are you creating authority? Number 2, that visual recognition. And number 3 is the community. Okay. So with authority, I've been talking about it a little bit, but with authority, you have to choose your platforms, right? You have to choose where can you add intellectual value and contribution today in your field of expertise. Okay. In your field of expertise. What I want to say here, and I want you guys to write this down. You can never give out too much information for free. I know Michelle Thomas and I have had this conversation early on. She's like, and she's one of our mastermind members. She's like, oh, I don't know how much information I should give them. Guys, you want to be seen as an authority, right? I say this in the LinkedIn Academy all the time. And that is, I don't have a PhD in LinkedIn. Like, I don't have a certification. There is nothing about me that makes me top level, except that I have the experience and I've marketed it as so, right? And what I mean by marketing it as so is I show up week over week, providing value, tips and tricks for free. I have a free workshop that costs us thousands of dollars every quarter. It's totally free. What does that do? It creates authority. People realize I know my shit and I'm giving it out for free, right? Does that make sense? So you can never give away enough for free, but you need to think about where are your people hanging out? So it talks about when in your notes on authority, I want you to think about where do your people hang out? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Maybe TikTok's your jam. Maybe it's Clubhouse. Maybe it's Pinterest, but you need to think about where your people are that you need to find, right? And then maybe even specific targeted groups. Maybe it's Facebook groups. Maybe it's LinkedIn groups, right? And then the final question on that is once you know where your targeted people are, right? And Jess is going to talk about groups in a second. How are you marketing to them? Do you have a consistent and valuable content plan, right? Do you know what their problems are that you can provide a solution to and you're giving it to them at value, right? So you have to have that consistent plan. Now, that can be through social media. It can also be through email marketing. It can be through value add with podcasts, blogs, speaker opportunities, right? There's a million ways that you could skin a cat, right? There's news, magazines. And again, this is something we talk about a lot in Mastermind, which is, can you get in front of people and coach for free? Michelle and I talked about this maybe one of our last coaching calls. Michelle, I'm doing it. I've been asked to go to Palm Springs. I'm paying for my own flight and staying in a hotel to speak on stage because guess what? It's totally free. But do you think there's going to be brand recognition and there's going to be authority build to stand on stage in front of 100 other online entrepreneurs that I'm going to offer an opt-in that they're going to download and I'm going to get their email addresses and then I'm going to market more, providing value over value that's going to ultimately generate leads in my business? Is that making sense for you guys? Okay. So the second piece is visual recognition. And this is where I may have Jess share, because I brought Jess in to help build my visual brand, right? So font and color scheme and palette is all really important, right? The other thing that's really important, and people and Jess was the one that forced me to do this, okay, is professional photos with a very specific photographer who knows angles for social media. And I see Alacia because she has phenomenal photos too, right? So the first thing she did with me is she's like, you need to invest in a photographer, like a good one. I'm like, what? Right? But she had the eye, the photogenic eye, everything you guys see on our marketing materials. The photographer was like, worked with Jess and like knew that like we needed space over here for me to point at things, or we needed a look that does this or that or whatever. Right. And like, I hate photo shoots. They know I hate them, but I do them anyway. Right. And it all has to do with that consistent, polished brand. Do you want to be $1 million brand? Show up as $1 million brand. Jess, do you want to speak to that for a minute before we hop into how to strategically build a community that converts to sales? Are you struggling to generate leads on Facebook and Instagram? Do you want to attract and close more high quality leads without having to rely on ads and the hustle of Instagram and Facebook? Most service-based online business owners are stuck trying to build their audiences and launches using overly saturated Facebook groups, ads, and DMing strategies, and they are struggling. But there's a better place and way to connect with ideal clients. It's on LinkedIn. You guys, you know me, Melissa Hinault. I've tapped into the power of LinkedIn to generate leads and grow 6- and 7-figure businesses online. We just hit 6 figures just last month, and 80% of our 6-figure sales were from organic leads, not from ads. I teach all types of business owners how to attract and close their ideal clients with ease. I'm hosting a free masterclass where I'm teaching how to generate thousands of high-quality leads on LinkedIn without paying a fortune with Facebook ads and without exhausting yourself trying to stand out in a saturated market. Imagine generating warm leads instead of cold ones with ads, resulting in a higher conversion rate. Imagine marketing to an audience with the money mindset and the income to invest in what you have to offer. Register for free today at our website, www.burnouttoallout.co. That's www.burnouttoallout.co, or jump into my free Facebook community, Burnout to All Out, and just make a post in there and say, hey, I need a concierge. Get me signed up for this next workshop. Can't wait to see you on the back end. Next up, I'd love for you to just listen to some of our clients currently in the academy and listen to how they're winning with our strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so fun getting started working with you because it really, you're not making it up when you say you really started at, ground zero when it came to personal brand. And for those of you who are watching today and you're not somebody who's like naturally comes to that, like, oh, I'm going to start a business and this is the way it's literally going to look. That's okay. There are, a lot of really, really, really successful CEOs out there that hire those people in, or they join masterminds where they learn this. Okay. So when Melissa and I got together and when I kind of did an audit of the whole idea of like who Melissa Hinault is, it was difficult to find some things. And it was shocking to me because obviously her personality is bright and shiny and like you have so much to say. We needed to figure out a brand where when you just took one quick look, it was like, oh, this is for me. This is the person I need to, rub elbows with next. She's going to be the person to bring me to the next level. And the interesting part about a brand too, guys, we're humans and we do change, right? Things change in our life, in our businesses. And there's things called rebrands, which we actually just did this year as well, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want people to be paralyzed with fear of like, oh, I'm coming up with something great this second and it's got to be my end all be all forever, right? We teach you inside the mastermind how to evolve in your brand and how to bring it from, A to B and then beyond. Where are we going to head next? Now, I know we don't have tons of time. Why don't you keep going, Melissa?
Yep.
We say a crack.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's just a lot of great tools and resources out there to build brand boards. I know we do that with our Done For You clients, and it's something Jess does with our mastermind clients as they're coming in. I didn't realize how important it was. And that's why it's like bringing in the experts. What I talked about, having that internal, kind of black book of support is so important. But let's talk the third piece in your workbook of how to build authority and value, which equates to a brand. This is one that's missed a lot, and that is community. And I talked about it in the beginning. It's community, right? And there's a really great book I want you guys, if you want to reference, it's called Creative Calling. And it's really good. It's one of the last chapters that talks about this. I want to ask you guys a poll really quick. How many followers do you think you need to make $1 million? How many followers, like people who love what you put out, and this is in creative calling, how many followers do you need to make $1 million? All right. Some of you guys know it's 1,000. Some of you have read the book. All you need is 1,000 followers to create $1 million brand. Okay. But the key is I brought you back to the fatal mistake of new online entrepreneurs was what? Selling shit before they build rapport or value. Okay. What is one of the best ways to create rapport and value? Build community around your mission. The name of the book was Creative Calling. Creative Calling. Okay. So the question is, how are you serving this community, right? And Jess is going to talk about ours in just a second, but you can do this through social media groups. You can do this through your podcast, although that's not going to be as interactive. It doesn't really create community. Some of you have even created Slack channels. And I know in our mastermind, we've got a Slack channel for our community to interact, but that's, again, a paid for program. But there's Discord, there's Telegram. There's so many platforms out there. Our choice platform for our free community is our Facebook community, Burnout to All Out. Okay. We go in there and I will have Jess talk about it. But what I want you guys to know is that with our very first launch, when we first launched our new academy, there was, Jess, 500 people in the community, 500, and we did $165,000 in sales. 500 people in the community and $165,000 in sales. Why is that? Because we nurtured that community on a weekly basis and provided value for free. So that it's kind of the Gary V mentality. The punch calls it the punch, or the punch, right hook. Give, then sell, right? We gave and created credibility and then sold. Today, that Facebook group has about 5,000 in there, right? Jess, do you want to speak a little bit? Because I'm sure these guys are asking, well, how do you provide value in a community? There's a lot of ways to do it. We have our chosen platform. How are we nurturing a free community that then we're able to sell to at a cadence that creates predictable revenue?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, we need to listen. We need to listen to the people that we have brought in at this point. What value can we bring to you? So we're listening and we are constantly making sure that we're relevant and giving you the value all the time inside of our Facebook page. The other thing is we really make sure that we're not just hitting one type of content or value all the time. And Melissa has really challenged her team and what always continues to challenge people inside the mastermind to think outside of what you expert know and can research and learn and find out how you're going to give more and more value all the time. So what we do is we make sure we actually have a rotating roster of who comes in each week to make sure that we actually give value from different perspectives from different experts on our team. And we love to do it. We all love to show up. Now, this is something, guys, that can go undone if you aren't very organized about this. And Melissa, you guys can hear about this in her podcast and all the different things. Time blocking and actually scheduling in the time to do your value add is really important. And the other thing is just checking up on, what's working, what's being seen right now. What is the algorithm liking? Is it video? Is it pictures, these perfectly, beautifully curated pictures? Is it more, Melissa jumping into her cold? What was it? The cold what, Jay? You did
cold plunge this morning. Yeah.
What are people seeing and what is resonating with people and what's helping them move the needle forward in their business? So again, guys, it all comes back down to value and making sure that you don't, just because you're maybe not an expert at each piece, that you don't bring people in and you don't find out and educate yourself on doing more. The other thing is, yes, our Facebook page is absolutely, our place where we sit and we bring weekly value, but we also do that very much across our LinkedIn, of course, email marketing or text marketing, all that different stuff. Guys, it does marry all together. We have seen, things happen, right? Even in these lunch, and in these master classes where all of a sudden Facebook shut down, or something's not working, and we really make sure that people feel safe, and our communities are safe by having different ones, where we can make sure that we're hitting everybody and we're in contact with you at all times. So we teach you guys that because it's really important to us. Melissa even talked about she lost her Facebook page, and that was an awful thing. So I hope that that's helpful in terms of our communities. But yeah, setting it in your calendar and making sure that you are showing up in different formats weekly is important.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So good. Thank you so much, Jess. Such a good overview. And she does a phenomenal job nurturing and managing that group. And it is the most underestimated work that really needs to be done to nurture. That is the most valuable. Like, you can pay for Facebook ads all day long, but I hope you guys, those numbers resonated. I'm going to jump to Lacey here in just a hot second, but that I can have a 2.5% conversion rate. And some of you guys may not even know exactly what that term means. It means the amount of people who show up that you sell to, 2.5% buy. But when you have a community that you own and that you nurture on a weekly basis and love, right? They have a much higher purchasing likelihood because you're giving them value. So you just need to ask yourself, where am I creating community and value so that I have a higher likelihood of conversion to sale, right? Because I'm providing so much authority and value, and you own it. You create it. It's yours, right? So with that, I want to pop over to Alacia, who's one of our current mastermind members, actually our newest member, I believe, one of our newest members. And Alacia, first of all, welcome. I know it's early over in California.
Not that early now, but I'm here. I have a sick toddler, by the way. So if you all hear anything in the background, maybe Anna and Elsa, maybe the toddler, that's what's going on.
I get it. You know me. I've got 3 kids, so I get it. Well, so Alacia, first of all, why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about your business? Because it's freaking awesome. And you are in the middle of birthing this baby. So tell everybody a little bit about your business.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a corporate dropout, which is a term I heard from Melissa in a coaching session last summer, and I couldn't unhear it. And so I left a job at Google to become a full-time entrepreneur. And as I was building businesses, I was realizing, like, okay, I have a business degree and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm really lucky that I have, right? Like, I was trained to be an employee, not an entrepreneur.
Right.
But I was very, very blessed to have an amazing professional network. And they really helped me connect the dots, like make intros to the people who could help me build a brand and get the brand photography I needed and build a website and get marketing and like all these things. Right. And so I'm like, there's got to be a better way. Like, I wish I just had this turnkey solution where I could meet the CPA I need, the business lawyer I need, the marketer I need, all of that in one place, and like get educated on that, because I also want to understand and have a basis of knowledge. And so since I couldn't find anything that quite existed like that, I decided to create it. So that's launching on International Women's Day on March 8th. It's called
I love that.
Yeah, my marketer came up with that, right? That's why you pay him the big bucks. So it's named the Greek goddess of light, which is Thea, because really the goal is to light the path for entrepreneurs. So as I'm going through and doing this, the other component of it is like, and here's where masterminds come in. Entrepreneurship's really lonely. Like, my best friends will always be my best friends, but when I need business advice or I need to talk about like next level type of stuff, like that's not who I'm going to. Like, I need a community of like-minded, business-minded entrepreneurs to really help me. And that's where the value of a mastermind, I think, also comes in.
Oh, I'm so glad you hit on that. And I think that was the biggest, for me, even also personally with my own investments in my own mastermind. It was a lonely space, especially I believe, I like this term digital CEO, right? It's one thing to be an entrepreneur that's like in a bricks and mortar where you're like interacting with other humans. It's another thing to be a digital CEO, like in your house where like, I don't know about you, like you're in a more progressive area, but where I live, there's like not another person that I know within a certain mile radius that even runs a business online, right? So just submerging yourself with people who are doing the do and can uplift you is awesome. Well, tell me this, because I know you're a couple of months in, maybe 2 or 3 out of, because there's all different facets of the mastermind that kind of feed into different people's kind of learning capacities. We've got our on-demand training and our 6-step pillars, but we also have the live group coaching. And then we also have the one-on-ones that's more kind of custom for what you need. Out of our 3 different buckets, like what have you found the most value to help you progress this year?
They're all valuable, but by far, I gotta give that accolade to Jackie.
Yes.
So to give you guys a little bit of background, I told you I quit my job at Google. I had been in the tech space for almost a decade. Like I'm really tech savvy. But here's the other reason why I think like investing in a mastermind and the hands-on one-on-one is so important. Before Google, I was working at Salesforce, and I was basically like a business consultant that would solve people's problems with the software that Salesforce sold. And what I would see all the time is people pick the wrong platform, the wrong program. They get all kinds of bottlenecks. They have these big kinks that they need to unwind. And so I'm like, I do not want to pick the wrong thing out of the gate and then have to unwind this and rebuild it. I want to do it right out of the gate, even if that means spending more money. Like it is what it is. And so Jackie's been great just to bounce ideas around of like which platform is best, how to set it up, how to do the automations, stuff I know how to do, but like not on her level, and I could figure it out, but it would take me a ton of time. And like, what's my time worth,
100%. I love that you pointed that out. And that's one of the reasons within a couple of months of working with her, I'm like, can you stay with me all the time?
She's an ace, man. Like that was a great hire. Yeah. Unbelievable.
So, and I love that you point that out. One of the things, I love about Jackie, and Jess is obviously amazing too with her branding and her marketing. But with Jackie, sometimes I feel like as an entrepreneur, you don't know what you don't know till you get into realizing how important systems and tech are. And it's like, if you're the idea, like you're the creator and you're the CEO, like you don't want to use that time in the weeds. It took me 40 hours to build my own website when I got started, right? Like those 40 hours could have been used in many other ways, right? Well, Alicia, thank you so much for popping in here and just sharing your experience thus far. Any final remarks before we give these guys their homework?
I think I would just say, like, if you're looking to go all the way, like, it's a good idea and good business to pay someone who has the knowledge to teach you so that you don't waste a ton of time doing it. Like Melissa doing $1 million in revenue in 19 months. I'm like, yep, that's what I'd like to do. So just teach me everything and we'll go from there. Save me a lot of time and trouble. So yeah, I think investing in your business is a really, really smart move. And, Melissa and I have known each other now for a little over a year, and I just think the world of you, and it's been a great investment for sure. So happy to be here and speak to it.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we are so excited and cheering you on as you birth this baby on National Women's Day. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. Very exciting. And
awesome.
Not without your help. So thank you for that.
Oh. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for popping in today. Thanks for listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. For free resources, materials, or information on my coaching services, go ahead over to livethefreelife.co. That's livethefreelife.co. Or check out our Facebook community at Burnout to All Out, and make sure you follow Burnout to All Out on Spotify and subscribe to iTunes. And it would truly mean the world to me if you paused for just a second, gave me that 5-star review of the show, and be sure to share this episode with any burnouts you think would be inspired to go all out after hearing this episode.